Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Harbor, and I am so excited to have a way for me to connect with you and show you some projects that we can work on while you are at home. Today I have one for you. It's one of the two required projects that we are now offering. You might be picking this one, or you might be picking the other option that's available on the menu for your required project. These projects are going to be available for a variety of materials. So I realize you may have different things at home to use. This project can be just a piece of paper and a regular pencil. If that is all you have, then we can make that work for this project. So don't feel like you need a whole lot of things. It's okay. So what we're going to be talking about really with this project is an element of art which is called value. And so value in art is the lightness of an object or the darkness of an object. So you can see this picture. It's a photograph of a plant. That's going to be our subject today, is a plant. And you can see that some of these leaves in these areas have dark green in them, and some of them have a much lighter green. These are almost have a little bit of red to them too, but I'm going to use green today. To pick your subject, you have two ways to do this. One is to go to the Palouse Clearwater Environmental Institute page. I have a link for you in the menu to their page of native plants. That's a list of plants that you would find if you were outside walking around in our area that would live here naturally. And if that is not the direction you'd like to go, you can also choose a house plant that you might have in your home. And that would be a great thing. We're picking a plant to use as our subject to observe. So I've printed my plant out. I actually have two images of it to share with you. This is what the plant that I chose looks like from afar. It's a shrub. I believe it's called a 9-bark. I actually have this shrub planted in my front yard. It doesn't have any leaves on it right now, but it will. And it does end up flowering into these beautiful pink buds, which is nice, and I look forward to that. So I'm going to use this as my subject, and I'll show you how we're going to draw that in a minute. You can explore value with paint. We're not doing that for this project, but if you were to do that, you would add, say you had a green paint, you would add a black to make a darker shade of that green. And then can you guess what you would add to make a lighter shade? It would be white. So you can create different values of a color by using black or white paint. You can also use other tools to create values. So I'm going to be using this pencil, and I'm going to be using 3 different values today: a light value, a dark value, and a medium value. So I'm not going to add white to create a value, but I can use the control of how I press down on my tool. So if I use a very light pressure, I get a very light value. If I increase that pressure a little bit and push a little bit harder, I will get more of a medium value. And if I do that same pressure, I can work towards a darker value. And to do that, I might do something we call cross hatching. So I have that medium value going, and now I'm going to take my pencil and cross over the other direction, pressing hard. So I have a light value that I used with my light pressure, a medium value, and a dark value. So you can do that with even a pencil. It doesn't have to be a colored pencil, right? Light, medium, and then a dark. Try that cross hatching. That really, really helps get a nice dark value. All right, so for drawing our subject, you are going to start with just a pencil. Okay, again, like we talk about in class, your project's not going to look like mine, and it's not going to look like maybe you're doing this with your brother or sister. It's not going to look like theirs. It's just going to look like yours. And you can choose how many leaves to put on it. You can choose what type of plant you're going to study. All of that is up to you. So I'm going to start with mine. And again, I'm going to show you the faraway view because that's going to help me see how those branches come out. So I'm going to take my pencil. I might actually even draw a little horizon line, the ground, so I have a place to put my plant. And then I'm going to just take really lightly, I'm going to sketch with, we can call these whisper lines, right? We don't want them too dark. And those branches come right out, kind of straight, not too curvy, maybe a little ones come off the edge. And now I'm going to look at what those leaves look like. That's why I got the close-up view too, because I can see what kind of lines do I need to get those leaves to show through. I'm going to say kind of maybe almost a zigzag line. I know a lot of you have talked about zigzag lines with me. It's a little curvier, maybe a curvier zigzag. And I'm going to just kind of draw in those leaves. Very lightly, I'm just going to use the outside of the leaf line to kind of get those shapes. Again, I am not looking for a perfect drawing. We're observing, we're doing the best we can just to see what this plant looks like. So I'm going to stop there. I think that's plenty of leaves. I don't want to fill it up too much because I'd be spending my whole afternoon coloring it in. So be mindful of how many you're making so that you can not feel overwhelmed when you're coloring them in and working on your value. I gave an example here of what a house plant might look like. So you have a lot of options. Yours does not have to look like mine. But what you're doing is picking a plant to observe. Now, once you have it finished, I'll work with this one next. Once you have your outline done, your lines are going to be a lot lighter than mine. I made mine dark so you can see them really well. You're going to explore, you could even practice again at the top of the page your light value, right? You're just carefully, lightly drawing that value in, not much pressure. Your medium value is a little heavier pressure. And your dark value, you can start with that medium value and then cross hatch to get that darker value. So I'm going to plan these three values. One in each leaf will have a different value. So I'm going to start with my light value and take this plant leaf and I'm going to fill it in with a light value. Notice that I'm not pushing hard. My hand is even far back on the pencil. I'm not holding it quite like I would if I was to write my name or write a story. This is a different position to kind of lighten up how I'm pressing down and controlling that value. Now I think I'm going to take my medium value and use this leaf and have it kind of come behind here. So this is my medium value, and I'm pressing a little bit harder as I go, just like I did in my practice. It's okay if we don't get it right. This is a practice, right? This isn't something we've done a lot. This is new. So just explore how to control your values. Maybe you're using a crayon. That would be fine. And then we're going to go, this one is going to be my dark value. And I'm going to start with that pressure, that same medium value pressure. And then what do I need to do to make it darker? Remember that crosshatch. And that, I'm going to go this direction now. Cross over what I just did to get that darker value. So now you can see I have one light value, one medium, and one dark. And I'm just going to continue that on. Now I might have this one be a light value again, going back to light. Okay, I'm going to show you a finished piece that I did earlier, just so you can kind of get an idea of what it might look like. When you're finished, if you have a darker crayon or pencil or even a marker, if you'd like to outline your work, you can. This was just a choice I made. You don't have to do this, but I was thinking about the line. Some of us in some of our classes did a line project where we copied a line that our hand drew, and we tried to copy it, and it creates a pattern. So I did that for the ground. If you'll remember, the plant that I chose had these nice little flowers, so I chose to add those. You may or may not choose that, and that's fine, but I did add those here, and I used my different values with my pink. Again, if you don't have the colors, this project will work with a regular pencil too. So you don't have to have a color. Let's look at what that might look like. So let's do, this one might be, well, we'll finish this one. This could be the light, right? A regular pencil. This would be a more of a medium, pressing a little bit harder. And then we could go really dark with that same technique where we go and crosshatch. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this, and I hope you have a great time with it. If you have questions, you can email me. It's JAHARBOUR@psd267.org. Make sure you have your adult help you with this, and make sure they know that that's what your plan is if you need to ask me a question about the project. All right, you guys, have fun. Don't worry about it looking like mine. Remember, yours is going to look different, and that's great. All we're trying to do is explore that value. Can you play around with those darks and mediums and light values with whatever tools you have? So I look forward to connecting with you some more, and have a great time.